Welcome in to Sport Bet Extra. I'm your host, Paul Rami, here every Thursday and Friday, 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central, and Sundays, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 Central. Today's a great day, Friday, October 11th. We are excited to be here. Besides yesterday we lost our only play on the under there. UTEP, that kickoff return touchdown to start the second half. That's the one that put us over the top. What are you going to do about those? Can't do too much. So far on the show plays, we are now 9-8 and up 1.51 units on the show. Tonight, we already have our pick. That's Northwestern Maryland over 45 and a half. So we'll just be waiting on that one. And today we're going to be talking about Saturday's large college football slate. Got a lot of good games going on this weekend. Again, I'll be using offshore books for all of my plays. I will continue to do that. And quickly, one more announcement. All my plays are no longer on Substack. I am switching over to Winnable. So that way, anyone who has a or wants a text option will have that now. So you can sign up with email or text, and you can get those plays as soon as they're done after the show. And then the other days that I don't have a show where I'm posting those plays, you'll get those right to your phone as soon as I'm posting them. And that way you can go ahead and lock them in yourselves. So winnable.com/the Paul Rami. Let me just double check because again, that is new. So winnable.com/Paul Rami. That's where you can find me, and that's where I'll be posting all my plays. So let's move on and start looking at Saturday's slate of games that we've got. Again, quite a few good games going on. We will have a play on one of the top games that's going to be going on Saturday night as well. So scroll through early games. A few things we see: Missouri at UMass, not going to lay the large number there. South Carolina, Alabama. Alabama most likely going to bounce back against South Carolina. Not taking that one. Wisconsin at Rutgers, man. I love that Rutgers team. Not going to be taking this one, though. That -2 is kind of scary. Really, it should be more, but Wisconsin, they're capable of winning outright, uh, putting up big numbers there. Washington at Iowa. Washington's a great team defensively. How well they're going to do traveling to Iowa, I don't know. So we're going to wait. We're not going to have a play on that one. One game that we will be having to play on, and we'll see what the number has moved at now, is one that will be going into the MAC conference. So we're going to the bottom of the barrel for this one. Both teams that we're looking at, Ball State at Kent State, 11 a.m. Central Time there. Both teams have really not done anything impressive, and they lack any sort of competence on defense, as they both rank near the bottom of the nation in defensive yards allowed and points allowed. Now, usually I'm going to stay away from these type of games, but we're finding a spot here where Vegas, they just got this number wrong. Ball State has had an easier schedule compared to what Kent State has played, as Kent State just came off two road games at Tennessee and Penn State and played its last game at home against Eastern Michigan with their new QB taking over since Cargman was injured for the season. So they got a new QB last game. Uh, Kent State, they actually threw the ball very well last game, as Ulatowski, new QB, he shined with 345 passing yards and three touchdowns, also threw a pick. But we expect him to thrive again at home in his second start against a much softer defense than last week, where they'll now have a balanced attack. Since Ball State, they can't stop the pass nor the run. Now, lastly, with only one interception on the season, the Cardinals team, they're going to struggle to get any stops or force any turnovers. So this is going to be one of those back and forth, high scoring games. The value, however, that we'll be getting is on this Kent State team. The wrong team is favored here, so this is the one where we've got a nice underdog money line play that we're going to be taking. So we're going to be on Kent State money line at home. Now, let me verify what that number is because it looks like it may have moved since I was doing all my research. So Kent State, yeah, it's down to a plus 175 on Bet Online. Yesterday it was plus 205. Something must have happened. I need to look more into it. But plus 175 on Bet Online, Kent State money line. So we will be taking that as our first 1 unit play. Next game, let's go ahead and scroll through and see what we've got. After that, you got the 2:30 round of 2:30 games. Cal at Pittsburgh, nothing there. We were close on Penn State USC. This could be one of those games USC shows up for. Penn State maybe doesn't. So we're not going to be on that one. Purdue, Illinois, nothing enticing there. Stanford at Notre Dame. Now, Red River rivalry, Texas at Oklahoma. We will be staying away from that one. We will watch it, but we'll be staying away. Laying the 14.5. Excuse me. Not something I want to do. So we're going to go to another kind of off the radar game here. We're going to San Jose State at Colorado State. Now, right away, looking at this number, it seems a little fishy, right? San Jose State here, they should be favored by about 3 to 4 points just looking at this team and what they've done. And let me check currently what they're favored by. Last I checked, it was 1. I just want to verify that so I don't give any wrong information. So, yep, they're actually Colorado State now. So it's flipped. Colorado State is now a 1.5 point. I'm seeing kind of all over the place favorite. So now we've got a line that's flipped where it opened up. San Jose State was favored. Now we got Colorado State getting favored. So that's one that's kind of, again, why is that happening? We're going to ask ourselves that question. But really, what sticks out to me here is just how much better San Jose State is in the pass game than what Colorado State is in their run game. Now, putting up over 329 pass yards per game and a completion rate of 60% is not going to be a great outcome for Colorado State when they're allowing a 67 completion rate for all opposing offenses. Now, what Colorado State will attempt to do, we know, is control the game with their heavy run offense and make that the focal point. But when you lack the ability to stop the pass and the other team from scoring, at some point you're going to have to abandon your run and get to throwing the ball, which they do not do well. Only 176 pass yards per game for Colorado State. So they will be leaning on that run. Now, with the same amount of touchdowns as interceptions for Braden Fowler, Nicolosi, so far in the season, you can bet that Colorado State, they're going to attempt to control this game on the ground. We already know what they're going to do. Excuse me. San Jose State knows what they're going to do. So I'm not worried about the line flipping this game. We're going to be taking San Jose State here. This is one of those, it kind of makes you think, but we're not going to get scared off of this one. So we're going to go San Jose State money line. I'm seeing a plus 105 on Bet Online. So let me get that locked in. San Jose State money line plus 105 on Bet Online. So that'll be our second 1 unit play. We've got 2 plays now that we've got underdogs. We got a little bit of plus money, which is great. Let's continue to scroll through these games and see what other value we find. Louisville, Virginia, passing on that one. Mississippi State, Georgia. Georgia laying a big number, about 34 there. Not going to touch that one. North Texas, Florida Atlantic was interesting. I was close to pulling North Texas there. Florida Atlantic, for some reason, just I have a feeling this game, they're going to show up for this game. Florida at Tennessee was another one. We were very close to taking Tennessee, but it's a little bit over that key number. If it were down to maybe 13.5, somewhere around that range, 13, we might take it. It's around a 14.5 right now. So we're going to pass on that one. Let's see what else we've got down here. Let me scroll through some more of the lines here. Washington State, Fresno State. That one was enticing, but not enticing enough for us to take it. So we're going to pass on that one. Let me continue to scroll through, see what other ones we've got. I mean, we really just got to skip to the game that we've got at 6:30, and that is Ohio State and Oregon. So let's talk about Ohio State and Oregon. Exciting top 5 matchup in Eugene, Oregon here. College game day is going to be there. You know, this is going to be Ohio State's toughest test of the season so far. But is it really going to be a tough test? I have just not been impressed by Oregon's wins. You know, the first 2 weeks of the season, of course, but over the last 3, Oregon has seemed to get into a little bit of a stride by blowing out teams. But all that is against much more inferior defenses than what they're going to face on Saturday night. This will be the number 1 defense in the nation as far as yards allowed and yards per play. So Ohio State is only allowing 72 rush yards per game, good for 3rd in the nation, and only 129 pass yards per game, which is good for 4th in the nation. Now, I know this needs to be taken with a grain of salt, as Ohio State hasn't faced the toughest of competition either, but defense travels. And you better believe that this team, they're going to be fired up for this game and ready to play a tough opponent. Now, Oregon, they're going to be outmatched for the first time this season. So we'll be looking for Ohio State on this game. You know, too, what's different is when you look at College Game Day last week, they had the coach come on a couple hours before the game, and there's a difference in coaching styles, right? You got Ohio State, who we know what this team can do. We know they're ready for big games. Miami's coach said something whenever asked that was kind of weird to me was, you know, they asked him, how are you preparing your team for this? Are you telling them this is a big game? And his response was no, which every game should be a big game. But he told his players that they're just going in like every other game. It's, you know, not a big deal. And you saw what Miami did. They treated it like it was not a big deal. And they barely won that game against Cal last week. As a coach, you got to tell these players it's a big game. We're here to win. Let's get up for this game. You got to motivate them. There was no motivation from Miami. Ohio State, they can motivate. We're going to look at Ohio State -3 here. We're going to get them to win and cover. And to show Oregon, you know, let's kind of bring them down to earth a little bit. So looking at this line, we've got Ohio State -3. -103 on Heritage is the best number I've got. So we're going to go with Ohio State -3, -103 on Heritage. That'll be our 3rd play. And we've got one more play that we're going to give out. Everything again, 1 unit plays. We were very close on Ole Miss, LSU. Just couldn't quite get there. Vanderbilt, Kentucky, Iowa State, West Virginia. So I'm going to scroll through those, but we will go back. Kansas State, Colorado. That's going to be a good one to watch. That'll be a fun one. Kansas State with that quarterback, what he does, and Colorado with their hype. That's going to be a fun game to watch. I don't have a plan on that one, but better believe we will be watching. Boise State at Hawaii, of course. Ashton Genty, we talked about him 2 weeks ago. This guy is just something else, and he's going to continue to play that way, especially against Hawaii. Putting up those Heisman numbers is crazy, those video game numbers, as they've been saying. So, anyways, the last game that we're going to take a look at is going to be Vanderbilt at Kentucky. This game's at 6:45 Central. It's going to be a game where we expect a huge letdown spot from a team that just upset the number 1 team in the nation at home. Now they're traveling on the road against a team in the SEC that is much tougher defensively than Alabama this season, especially. I mean, if you look at what Alabama did defensively compared to what Kentucky can do, it's almost black and white, as Kentucky only allows 78 rush yards per game, while Alabama was allowing 128. In the the passing game, Alabama, they're allowing 270 pass yards per game. Kentucky, 165 pass yards per game. So no matter what Vanderbilt tries to do this game on the road, they're not going to have nearly the success that they had against, at home at Alabama there for a game that really the whole team was up and prepared for. Now, they're going to enjoy that Vanderbilt win because, hey, after Saturday, they'll be coming back down to reality just a little bit. And I believe, Kentucky, they do not have this explosive offense, right? But you can guarantee that their defense will be setting them up nicely with some short yardage drives and possibly even a defensive score or two that you can mark down. If you're someone who likes to take some fun props, you can take Kentucky anytime defensive special teams touchdown. That would be a fun one. Now you can also say, okay, well, look at that upset win Kentucky had on the road against the top 10 Ole Miss team. Barely winning that one. Well, Ole Miss, they even admitted it themselves. They were not truly tested before that Kentucky game. So we knew there was going to be some adjusting for Ole Miss as they got into conference play there. This one, give me Kentucky to roll here, make a statement. It's going to be Kentucky minus 13.5. When we scroll through, let's go ahead and see what the current one is. Minus 13.5, minus 108. That is on Heritage. So we will be taking that one. Kentucky minus 13.5, minus 108 on Heritage. So we are done for our Saturday slate. Quick recap. We're going to go Kent State money line plus 175. We will be taking San Jose State money line plus 105. Ohio State minus 3, minus 103. And then we've got Kentucky minus 13.5, minus 108. So 4 plays, some really good value. Everything 1 unit, no 2-unit plays this Saturday. Again, follow me on X at the Paul Rami. I will be having most likely some live bets on Saturday, depending on how the flow of the games go on some other things. Again, winnable.com/Paul Rami. That's where I'll be posting plays. If you're able to go ahead, I've got a free plan on there. Sign up for it. That way, as soon as the show's over, you'll get those plays texted to you. And then on the other days, Monday through Wednesday, you're going to get any of those plays as well texted directly to your phone. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you on Sunday for the NFL slate. Have a good one.